Hi, I'm Robin from Minimalism Over 50. Today I'm going to be talking about habits to consider for 2025. One in, one out. So this is a rule where I think it's sort of obvious. For everything that you bring into your house, one goes. If you're struggling with clutter already, you could even consider a one in, two out to start working on your clutter issue. This helps you either with a clutter issue that you already have, or if you have a decluttered space already, it helps it keep it decluttered. If you've never taken on a major declutter, maybe 2025 is your year. So our family has done these several times over the years. The first one was the biggest one that we did when we lived down in California. My kids were little. We used Tsh Oxenreider's book on a household declutter. I also have read Marie Kondo's book. So we have already done the major declutter, but we also had events like both of my parents dying, which brought more things back into our lives that we eventually had to deal with again at a later date when I was ready to let go of some things. And so decluttering is not, there is the one huge thing that you do, the one huge declutter, but it's also something that you kind of have to maintain. Next, budget. So if you've never lived on a budget and you're trying to get ahead financially, budgeting is absolutely the place to start. You already know this. So budgeting for our family is the foundation that has helped us get ahead financially. It's helped us pay off my husband's graduate school debt. We're close to getting our house paid for now. We're preparing for retirement, paying for our kids' school. All of those things have been supported by us living on a budget. Now, I understand that this can be overwhelming if you've never done it before. And so there are a lot of tools out there to help you. We've used different tools at different times. We've even used just a spreadsheet. We currently use YNAB or You Need a Budget. We have used Monarch Money. I know Dave Ramsey makes a tool called Every Dollar that many people like. So you could even use a Google Sheet or an Excel spreadsheet to help you track your spending. So this is something that we still do, and we really do track almost every penny that we spend. So the purpose of this is to help you begin to get a hold of your spending. There are months where it still sneaks up on us. So even though we have been tracking our spending and living it with a budget for many, many years, there are times where we still get out of whack with our spending. So still 25 years later, we're still being served by the fact that we track our spending and know exactly where our money goes. If you've never lived on a budget before, start with just tracking your spending to see. It gives you sort of a baseline to know where you're starting in terms of your spending. So next we have another decluttering tool, which is the 6-6 rule. Pretty simple. If you haven't used it in the last 6 months and you don't see yourself using it in the next 6 months, it might be time to find it a new home. So next is an item where you would use that place where you captured where your spending was going. And this is the idea of a values, time, and money audit. So that is doing, I think personally, I think it's the difficult work of sort of capturing the essence of what your values are, and then looking at your budget and your calendar and seeing if the way that you're spending money and the way that you're spending time reflects what you actually value. Next is an easy habit. I think it's a very easy habit. Set a timer, 5 minutes, or whatever you have, 4 minutes, 3 minutes. It's amazing what you can get done in a tiny amount of time, and tidy, clean, declutter one area. I do this with my kitchen all the time. I set my timer for 5 minutes and I'm like, how clean can I get my kitchen in 5 minutes? I'll frequently do this before I go to bed. So just the 5 minute, set the timer, go with your tidying. It makes a difference. All right, you're gonna have to bear with me on this because not everybody likes this. The dish-free sink. So here's why I love the dish-free sink. When I have dishes in my sink, every time I see them, for me, it is a an item on my to-do list, something that I need to do, which for me is mental clutter. So when you finish with an item, clean it up right away and have a dish-free sink just to clear the mental clutter in your kitchen. Next is the nightly reset. I love this so much. This is being your nighttime self, being kind to your morning self. At night, when we finish dinner, I turn the dishwasher on right away so that it will be finished before I go to bed. This means that I can unload the dishwasher at night and I get up to an empty dishwasher. I take just a few minutes and wipe down the counters, leave my kitchen clean, and again, it's nighttime Robin being nice to morning Robin. I really love getting up to a clean, calm space. Next is the water rule. So this is something I hook this onto you. If you've read The Power of Habit, I'm hooking this habit onto an easy habit for me, which is having my coffee in the morning. It's decaf, but still, it is my long-time morning warm drink ritual. I am prone to headaches and I am prone to dehydration. And so before I let myself have my coffee in the morning, I drink a big glass of water or two. It helps me start the day less behind in terms of getting hydrated, and for me, it prevents headaches. So I was just talking about nighttime Robin taking care of tomorrow morning Robin. This is another idea of the same thing. This is now Robin, 56-year-old Robin, taking care of 80-year-old Robin and Charlie, and that is saving. So all of the things that we've talked about up to this time, keeping track of your spending, living on a budget will help you start to save. So if you haven't started yet, now is absolutely the time to get going. I understand that this can be overwhelming, and so keep your goals small to begin with. I am not a financial advisor, and so this is one friend to another, well, internet friend to another. Start small with 5%. As you develop the muscle, maybe 2026 would be the year that you would step up to saving 10%, and maybe even the next year, stepping it up to saving 15%. So start where you are. Something is always better than nothing, and you will be so glad when the time comes that you have saved money and taken care of your future self. So next goes hand in hand with saving, and that is investing. So there are a ton of different resources for learning about investing. If you're starting from ground zero, I would watch, I'm going to link below a video from Humphrey Yang where he talks about investing. But again, so many resources out there. So I'll share very briefly. We do no sexy investing. We have no sophisticated, interesting things. We have a high yield savings account that we keep our emergency fund in, and we keep a lot of the funding for our kids' college in the high yield savings account. We use Betterment, which is index funds, and we have mutual funds that are managed by a broker. And so with that, we do have a few single stocks from companies that my husband has worked with, but very few of those. We usually roll those over into a broker managed mutual fund or into an index fund. So why do you need to invest instead of just putting your money into a savings account? And the answer is to stay ahead of inflation. Your investments will grow more quickly in a mutual fund than the rate of inflation over time, which helps you stay ahead and prepare for your future. A disclosure, like I said, we just do mutual funds. We do mutual funds and we do high yield savings account. I have no interest at this point in doing real estate, but a lot of people do. You could certainly do that. I just don't want to manage real estate. Next is an emergency fund. So an emergency fund has been huge for my mental health and my emotional well-being. If you've never had an emergency fund, I would start with $1,000. That's what Dave Ramsey says. It's not enough. Everybody agrees that it's not enough, but start with $1,000, then see if you can grow it to 3,000, then see if you can grow it to 5,000. Most financial advisors recommend that you try to have 3 to 6 months on hand. I know this can be overwhelming, but I think it's absolutely something to work towards, having that 3 to 6 months eventually. We have used ours, I don't know how many times. Just this year, we had a major leak that required that we redo one of our bathrooms. Because of our emergency fund, we were able to write the checks for that. I'm so grateful. It turned a major house repair from something that had the potential to get us into debt into a financial blip that was inconvenient. Yeah, it was a big bummer, a real pain, but financially, it didn't cause us to go into debt. We were able to pay for it out of our emergency fund. Next, embrace the suck. I think this is such a key to mental and emotional health. So I don't know if I have mentioned it here before. I have been sober for about 7.5 years. And this is such a key part of recovery, is being able to sit with hard feelings. Sit with the hard. I'm not talking about wallowing, but sitting with the hard instead of scrolling or drinking or free eyes porn or whatever the numbing behavior that you have is. Just sit with the hard. I'm not saying don't take care of yourself. There are wonderful ways that you can take care of yourself when you're sitting with the hard, sitting in front of the fireplace, having a cup of herbal tea, going for a walk. Being able to sit with hard emotions has been a key for me to maintaining my sobriety and to maintaining my mental health. Do your work. Therapy. This has been key. Our whole family, we are a therapy family. All 4 of us have spent time doing our work, and I can't recommend it highly enough. The only people who need therapy are actual human beings. I think we would all benefit from it. I know, speaking for myself, I certainly have, and my family has. It is being kind to yourself, and frankly, it helps me show up for my family because I've done my work. Next, move. Consider how you can increase your activity in 2025. A walk is a great place to start. You can even start with walking to the end of your street, and that's it. That's all you have to do. Then just add 2 to 5 minutes on each day until you're walking a mile a day. You may want to do more than that, but even if you just did a mile a day, you would be so much healthier in 2026 than at the beginning of 2025. Just figure out a way to move and go do it. So the next thing is lift. This is something that I invested in 2024 and will continue to do in 2025. I'm 56, and if I don't counteract it, I will be losing muscle every year. Everything that I've read says that lifting weights twice a week makes a huge impact on your muscle mass. I personally am going for 2 to 3 times a week. We have done different things. In 2024, I joined Planet Fitness with my husband and started lifting weights pretty seriously at the beginning of the year. There are a lot of different programs out there that you can use. I know that there are resources at Planet Fitness to help you. I've also used the YouTube Fit Mom channel to help with lifting. And now I'm finally at 56 hiring a trainer. Another habit that you could consider in terms of taking care of your body, and it's something that I do try to do a couple of times a week, is yoga. I am a huge fan of Yoga with Adriene. I know there are a ton of resources out there. Yoga with Adriene is the one that I'm just most familiar with. She's just super gentle in her approach and seems like a lovely human. I'm naturally very tight. My hips are tight. And so yoga helps me sort of live at ease in my own body. It helps me sort of loosen up, which I really, really appreciate. Yoga with Adriene there is a ton of free content on her YouTube channel. She also has a paid subscription on her website, which is quite affordable. So that is it. Those are the things that I thought about in terms of habits to sow into in 2025. I am not coming to you as somebody who has nailed them all. Every one of these is still a work in progress for me. I would love to hear what habits you're considering in 2025, and we will see you next time.